What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Caught Stealing, Fantasy Alarm's Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is episode 19. We got ourselves a little top news. We got some injury reports. We're also going to be playing a couple of games here today. Number one will be a new game called Fact or Fiction, created by James Grande himself. So we'll see what that one's all about. And then, of course, we will dive into the Fantasy Baseball Mailbag and see what kind of questions we can dig out from over there. What is going on, James? How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Howard. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
And yeah, I mean, it's just we're in full swing. There's never a shortage of MLB news. The cycle is full 24/7. Like there's three items that we didn't even include on our run sheet that just like have happened either last night or today. Rob Thompson getting fired. So
Oh,
and apparently Alex Cora saying declining the job. They offered it to him immediately, and he's like, "Nah, I'm okay. You're sinking ship, and I don't want anything to be a part of that." Um, Pete Fairbanks apparently can't feel his fingers in cold weather again, and Manny Machado was removed for precautionary reasons, and we'll see how precautionary it is. So like there's even things that in the news cycle that aren't even on our run sheet, and technically some of it might not even be news, depending on what happens with Machado. But yeah, there's always call ups. There's always send downs. There's always people going on rehabs. We got it all, and we'll talk to y'all about the fantasy relevance of it all.
we definitely will. I mean, listen, before we kind of get started here, because we do have a bunch of news to dive into here. Yeah, I heard Alex Cora, at least according to Jim Bowden on Fantasy Alarm, Alex is just going to take the rest of this year off. He's going to spend time with family. He's got two young boys, twins apparently, that he is going to sit and chill with. And you know what? Listen, I mean, this, coming back with working with Dave Dombrowski in Philadelphia, probably something that could happen.
Yeah,
It's going to depend on what happens. I mean, Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly, named the interim manager for the Phillies. Let's see how the players respond to him. Let's see what
right.
he does as far as managing goes, and maybe he holds the job, and maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't, then they can revisit the Alex Cora talks again. One thing that I did want to kind of note for people as we kind of open the show was something that you and I were just talking about before we went on air, and that is the time of year. And everybody's attention is now being pulled in different directions. You had the NFL draft this past weekend, and now everybody's getting all hyped up about fantasy football again, best ball fantasy football, all that stuff. Now we've got all that covered over at fantasyalarm.com, and Andrew Cooper chained to the furnace in the Fantasy Alarm basement, doing the old typey thing and making sure that we've got that kind of coverage there. But this is something to keep in mind when the football crowd starts up. And you also have, listen, you got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs going on. When the football crowd starts to, put its attention towards the NFL, that means that there are going to be opportunities that you might not think that you normally have in fantasy baseball when you're playing the waiver wire. Fewer, there might be somebody who just kind of forgets about the waiver wire. You're going to start seeing people here at the end of the month of April who are going to sit in last place or second to last place, and they're going to give up on the season. So keep that in mind right now. I mean, that's my main advice here is that it is the person who does their due diligence. It's the person who stays attentive to the game. That's what ends up winning because, it's such a long season. Anything can happen over the span of a month. The sample size right now is still tiny, still tiny. So if you're struggling here early, now is a great time to start making some moves and moving your ass up in the standings there. Wouldn't you agree? That's a general thing that general take that happens this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who splits time between NBA and MLB, that happens to me sometimes. Like I get lost in one sport. You're like, oh wait, I have to do this over here, right? I still have fantasy basketball playoffs waivers to do. So, 100% no real other thing to add. It's definitely an advantage to those that are just focusing on baseball. It is an advantage to take advantage of your league mates, and that's well within the rule book, Howard, as you
Are
know.
you wearing a basketball hat? Is that an Orlando Magic hat you're
It is.
wearing?
They are up 3-1 right now in the first round of the NBA playoffs. They are the 8th seed, Howard. There's a big upset brewing. So I wanted to represent my former stomping grounds.
See, there you go. Even James's attention is divided right now. Absolutely. But listen, that's just all the more reason to stay in tune with everything that we've got over at fantasyalarm.com. Stay on top of all of the action. Just up on the screen in front of you in the top right corner, there's a QR code that you can zap to be a Fantasy Alarm All Pro subscriber. Yes, right there. James is pointing at it. Zap that code or just go to I'll tell you what, you can go to fantasyalarm.com/YouTube. Promo code YT50 should auto populate when you get there. And that's going to knock 50% off of your first month. It's going to make your first month less than $20 between all the DFS and the betting and all the seasonal work we do. We're going to make you money and pay for that subscription in no time at all. I do the betting playbook show with John and Pemba and Mark Lammy every morning on weekdays, and we're firing it all up for you guys, not to mention everything that's in the bet tracker over there at fantasyalarm.com. So fantasyalarm.com/YouTube, promo code YT50 for 50% off. So let's get to it here, James. Let's talk about the news, the notes, the injuries, everything like that. Call-ups galore. I know you've got Jason Dominguez listed there first, but sorry, buddy. I got to say, I'm celebrating Travis Bazzana Day.
Yes.
More than I'm celebrating Jason Dominguez Day. We just got word last night that Bazzana was being called up by the Cleveland Guardians. He's supposed to immediately jump in, slot at second base. And if you guys don't know who Bazzana is, I mean, here's a kid who was slashing. I got the numbers right here. 287, 422, 511 with 2 home runs, 10 RBI, 18 runs scored, and 8 stolen bases over 117 plate appearances at AAA. Fantastic plate discipline, like a near 18% walk rate. So while, yes, I do see, possibly, a couple strikeouts here and there. He's got a 21% strikeout rate in AAA. I feel like this is a really nice boost for this Cleveland Guardians lineup. And I'm kind of excited to get him into a couple of places where I've been stashing him.
Yeah, and second is a garbage position, to put it
desolate wasteland.
Blunt. Yeah, it's a desolate wasteland. It's just to be nice. I feel like that's even being nice about it. Like it's just a bad position, and there's always a lot of turnover within your roster if you don't have Bryce Terang or Jazz Chisholm, who you haven't been able to rely upon until recently. Like there's a lot of players you'd play Bazzana over or roster over. So yeah, 60 grade speed guy. There's 50 power as well. And you mentioned elite batter's eye. So I'll take the strikeouts for the upside that he can contribute in multiple areas. I think I only listed Dominguez first because it happened first, not because I was more excited.
Yankee homers, it's okay. We can be Yankee homers.
I'm more excited about ERC getting called up than Dominguez. Not that I think Dominguez is bad, because I do think that there's some value to Jason Dominguez being called up. He is a very good left-handed hitter with a lot of room to grow from the right side. And Giancarlo Stanton's on the IL, so there's going to be playing time for Dominguez. But I'm more excited for Elmer Rodriguez getting called up, at least for the immediate. Elmer Rodriguez, as good as he can be one day, I'm not sure what his long-term standing is, because there's already issues with who's going to stick in the rotation long-term to begin with, and now we're adding another arm into the equation. But this is like top 50-ish prospect, number 1 or 2, depending on where you have Carlos Legrande listed in Yankee pitching prospect lore, and a guy who is a massive ground baller with strikeout upside as well. I'm in. It's not the best major league debut against Texas, but anyone that can get near 60% of ground of his outs on the ground is appealing, and a guy who's striking out nearly a batter per inning. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens in the majors because I mean, you're talking about a guy who had like a K per nine over 10 as he was climbing up through the minors. This year, it's just under 9 actually with him. But I mean, the pitch mix is a little bit different right now. Definitely focused. He's got a mid 90s fastball with good movement on that. He's got a mid 90s sinker ball, and that's what what's definitely helping out. He's got a slider that he can play around with. He's also got a cutter that'll help with the ground balls. So might pitch to a little bit of contact here. At least for the initial kind of starts. But I think that this is a guy who can definitely generate some better whiffs the more comfortable he is here. So I love it, man. And being called up, he's going to start Wednesday. I think it's worth a shot, right? Texas hasn't been some be all end all of offense right now, so I think he's definitely worth a shot. I would definitely Elmer Rodriguez. I would plug in Jason Dominguez if you can just to see, and I would definitely be using Travis Bazzana as well.
Just on the ERC front, Howard, or Elmer Rodriguez rather, it is interesting to see the strikeouts down. It's mainly because of one start. He's obviously only made 4. He had 2 strikeouts in his first outing at AAA. In the 3 after, it's 5, 6, and 7. So he's only gone up in the 3 starts afterwards. 6, 7. So he's only gone up since the 2 starts, or since the 2 strikeout opening day start that he made. So I think that is trending in the right direction, and a primary reason as to why he got called up, because he started to miss a lot more bats as well.
Yeah. Now, the real thing I think that we have to take a look at here with the Yankees as far as this goes, because you mentioned Carlos Legrande, who throws, triple digits on the regular and is just, a massive upside play here. What is this, to you, in your opinion, when you've got Elmer Rodriguez, Legrande on his way up? I guess you're looking at Will Warren and Ryan Weathers at the back end of that rotation. So the question really comes, what do I do? What do we do with Weathers? What do we do with Warren? Or are these guys going to stick around here, and Rodriguez and Legrande are just going to have to kind of sit back and wait a little bit?
Yeah, I think Elmer is, if you're looking to stream, I think Elmer Rodriguez is your streaming option. I think Legrande we see this year as a reliever. I think we see Carlos Legrande later in the year pitching in the 8th inning before David Bednar. That's what I think. I think so. I don't know if there's much value there, and Elmer beyond this start, I'd be curious, because both Rodon and Cole are ramping up really fast. I mean, Rodon threw 60 pitches in his first rehab assignment, and Cole's already made 2. You factor in Warren and Weathers, who both have pitched extremely well. I personally have been on the let's just see how this plays out, and if the worst thing we have to do is go to a 6-man rotation, then we go to a 6-man, keeping Weathers and Warren in the rotation, because I don't think either of them. Every 5th or would be 6th day, they deserve to pitch. Because of with how well things are going. I don't think, unless there's multiple injuries, that Legrande or ERC are long-term fantasy options, at least this season. I guess we'll see how things shake out. We always know that there's, pitchers are fragile, and you never know what's next. But if everybody's healthy, Legrande is a hold and hope for holds because
That's what I was gonna say. If they call up LeGrande and they just put him in the bullpen there as a setup guy, every saves hold league that I'm in,
everyone
I'll put everything on him. I'll put my whole
immediately
fat budget on him. Boom.
Yeah, I mean he like you said, it's triple digits like every pitch. It's every pitch, every fastball that he throws is 100, and that's the appeal. I don't see him as a starter this year unless things obviously go very wrong for the rest of the rotation.
Speaking of things going really wrong, other moves that we got to address here. Reynaldo Lopez moved back to the bullpen, a mechanics issue. How about it's just a Reynaldo Lopez issue?
It is.
I'm perfectly fine seeing him move to the bullpen. I had no interest in him whatsoever with the Braves. The Jordan Romano DFA. Now that's a little bit eye opening there. Both Kirby Yates and Ben Joyce are still on the IL. It says right there, top closing option in LA. I mean, are we really looking at Drew Pomerantz and Chase Silseth as the lefty-righty platoon?
Dude, Pomerantz got shelled again last night. He has had, after a resurgence last year with the Cubs, he has made such a mistake going to the Angels. He cannot get anybody out. Strikeouts are down, walks are up. It's terrible. This is almost a situation where I'd just be willing to ignore until, like, even when you look at Yates is getting shelled on his rehab assignment right now. Joyce is coming off Tommy John. It's just kind of like the labrum. Joyce had the labrum. He didn't have the Tommy John. I would just kind of be willing to wait and ignore it until we have something more definitive. If someone was like, I need this, my life depended on it, I need a save, tell me who's it going to be, I would probably go Sam Bachman, would probably be the guy that he might be the only reliever that has pitched well at all this year. And I say that with no confidence because it's like barely a sub 4 ERA, but and he walks so many batters, but he has a couple holds. He is striking out 9.2 K, does have a 9.2 K per nine and a nearly 25% K rate. So there's that, but it's just a situation that wait and see about Yates and Joyce and see when they return, if either of them can just kind of take the job away and run with it.
What is the top pitch count that we've seen for Jose Soriano? 106. 106, 3 starts ago in Cincinnati. Jose Soriano had 10 Ks there. I'm just trying to figure out how many pitches this guy's going to be allowed to throw so that we don't have to see the bullpen on any of his starts.
137 pitches tonight, Howard, for Jose Soriano, just right? So they don't have to use anyone. Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible. I mean, it's an abomination. Poor Kurt Suzuki. He doesn't even know. I mean, he had to look at this bullpen before the year like, this is my first year as a manager. This is what I'm given.
Brutal. Right? He's like, man, I thought it was gross when I was behind the plate. Now look at this. This is even worse now.
Yeah.
Even worse. So, yeah, we're going to have to definitely watch that situation there. Joe Galena maintains the closer grid for us, and he does the bullpen report over at fantasyalarm.com. If you're a subscriber, do yourself a favor, pop into our Discord and hit up Joe Galena and just say, Joe, what are we doing here? Let's give me my Angels bullpen outlook here and see what it is. This dude changes up the grid, I would say, on a daily basis, pretty much on a daily basis. He's in there making that magic happen. So let's pop in. If you don't subscribe, do yourself a favor. Like I said earlier, it's fantasyalarm.com/YouTube. Promo code YT50. He's got the Angels dropped all the way down there. He's got Silseth listed first as the righty, Pomerantz second, and he's got your boy Sam Bachman in there.
It's gross. It's gross.
It's so gross. Dude,
Gross.
there's so much on this closer grid that's just disgusting. Just
Yeah.
disgusting. So yeah. Let's tap into the injuries. Again, we've got an injury report over at fantasyalarm.com. Here are the big ones that we're gonna obviously need to address. Well, first off, we dodge a bullet here. You dodge a bullet. You're all in on Geraldo Perdomo. You're all in on him. So you avoided the major injury here. I think
Yes.
everything's going to be fine. Little day-to-day action for Perdomo. Nothing to worry about there, James. You're
Nope.
okay.
Nope. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Stanton on the IL with the calf injury. That's hopefully Jason Dominguez kind of allows them to take their time with
Yes.
Stanton. Calf injuries are a disaster.
I think that's 100% what's happening here. Because he ran to third base with the calf injury in Houston. Like, I think that it's like this guy is made of glass. I don't care how minor it is. You just rest, buddy. You just get some rest.
Slap a walking boot on
Yeah.
him. Tell him
Yeah.
to take a seat for a little while. We got this. Don't
Yes.
worry.
Yes.
You'll be okay. Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, dropping out of sight there with the Reds. That's a strained oblique. That's a little bit of a bummer there because not only is he going to deal with the oblique issue, but takes a little while to get your timing back
Yes.
once that's gone on for you. So Suarez being out, that's going to be a little bit of a bummer for the Reds. I don't know, man. I mean, Brian Hayes can't hit his way out of a paper bag. That dude's going to be locked in at third every game, as he has been. Where do you really invest in a guy like Nathaniel Lowe?
He's been good for whatever that's worth. I don't disagree. He was at one time like a decent prospect, and he was a decent major league player. He obviously hits in an elite ballpark. So if you're desperate for production, he has that going for him.
If only he could face the Tigers pitchers.
That's
every game,
point.
Right?
It's not a bad point, Howard. It's not a bad point.
This homestand against the Tigers has been fantastic for him, right? I mean, 4 home runs, 5 RBI over the last 3 games.
It's unfortunate he doesn't get to do that anymore. Maybe he should go to the AL Central. Get traded to the AL Central.
Oh, goodness. Zach Gallen banged up. Hasn't really done much for us anyway. I'm not too concerned over on that. Scherzer, same thing.
I'm more upset about Scherzer because we can't attack him in DFS anymore. Yeah, he's been
right.
Easy.
That's a great little icon of a foot there, James. Did you draw that yourself?
I really did. I took my time on today's graphics. Thank you for asking.
Definitely digging on that one. And now let's move over to on the men, guys who are making their way back into your lineups and into your hearts. Trey Savage, here we go. Now he's starting tonight for the Tuesday night for the Jays. I have no interest in starting. I do the daily pitcher matchup grid every day at fantasyalarm.com. If you guys are looking for that, by the way, because I had somebody ask me that, you have to go to the daily fantasy tab across the top of our page, and under MLB DFS, you'll see third from the bottom there, just above the hitting and pitching coach, DFS pitching matchups. It's a little tough to tell what that is, but I rank and write up every single pitcher who's starting for the day. I post that the night before so that you guys can get as much time with it as you possibly can, and also in case anything kind of changes around. So MLB DFS pitching matchups, that's where the grid is. And I've got Savage just kind of low on there, James. He hasn't looked good in his rehab starts. And, and I'm not going to, first game back, I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and he only threw in the 60s in pitches his last rehab, so he's not going to be extended all too much. It's especially if you're in like a quality starts league, you're not rostering him tonight.
Yeah, you are not. What about the rest of these guys coming back, starting rehab assignments? Who excites you the most? Jared Jones, Anthony Volpe, or Tatsuya Imai?
Never Anthony Volpe. That is he is so far below the depths of the my interest level in a baseball player. I don't think anyone's ever been lower.
We were riding so high on this kid when he first started.
He won a Gold Glove, and now he can't play any. He can't do anything right. He can't hit. He can't field.
It's all in his head.
Jose Caballero. It is 100% mental, and I'm sure when he steps into the batter's box and plays shortstop, realizing that Jose Caballero has the second most runs saved at shortstop this year, it's only going to get worse, Howard. Because if you have a mental problem now, wait till you see how good Cabby's numbers look at shortstop this year. You're going to have even bigger issues. But that does impact Jose Caballero quite drastically for those that have had the luxury of 12 stolen bases already this year and like 270 and some power. That's going to hurt him a lot. Jared Jones is easy answer for me. I know Tatsuya Imai is someone that you're heavily invested in, so I'm sure that's your lean. I love Jared Jones. I love the talent of Jared Jones. He is a high strikeout guy with pretty good control and throws a really fast fastball. I mean, he is another like just up there in velocity kind of guy. He is a very exciting pitcher for me. Even like his rookie year, there's a lot of numbers suggesting the little bit of unlucky stuff going on with a 4.14 ERA. But high strikeouts, really good pitching staff around him. I really like Jared Jones coming back soon.
Yeah, I think that we've got some good stuff happening there with Jared Jones coming back. I mean, just think about it, right? Pittsburgh, they're like third place in the Central. They're 2.5 games out of first behind Cincinnati. Not that we're really worried about that aspect of it right now, but when you think about the fact that it's Skeens, Bubba Chandler's been good. Jared Jones, would slot in probably as the third starter there. Braxton Ashcraft, who actually just went on the bereavement list I'm seeing right now.
Yes.
I think he was supposed to start today.
I think so.
He's expected back for tonight's start.
Yeah, he was supposed to pitch Monday. He couldn't because they have the 3-day rule with the bereavement list where you have to miss at least 3 days.
Yeah.
So I think the expectation is Braxton Ashcraft pitches Tuesday. I don't think they've officially announced a starter unless they did since we started recording.
I don't know if they officially announced. I mean, I had Ashcraft in the pitching guide.
I think as of 29 minutes ago, actually, Howard, he's expected to start today. So we're
beautiful. Good. See, there we go. There we go. And then he's got that kind of energy, like I'm going to do it for I don't know whoever the dead person is.
I am not going to comment.
Too crass?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not commenting there. No comments. No comments.
Listen, I'm dead inside. What do I care about anybody else, for crying out loud? Imai is a guy. Yes, I'm definitely looking. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. There were some mixed reviews on Imai when he first came to the States.
Right.
There was questions about whether or not his fastball had enough movement on it. In order to do it. Then he all of a sudden he came up with some sort of a gyro ball that he was suddenly unleashed on people. And so I mean I think that there's a lot. What I like about him also is the way he bet on himself, and he got himself a couple of opt-out clauses. Obviously he's not going to opt out after this first season unless he comes back from this shoulder issue. And absolutely dominates. But I'm definitely, I'm excited to have him back. I'm definitely nervous because when you're dealing with that kind of a shoulder issue and arm fatigue, command and control kind of wavers on that. And I just don't need him serving up, big meatballs to some of these hitters.
Hopefully, you spoke on betting on himself. Hopefully he's not actually betting on himself. And that's why there's meatballs that he's been serving up,
He's the Japanese Pete Rose.
I was gonna go with Emmanuel Clase, but that's allegedly, Allegedly Clase was doing that for.
Allegedly.
Hey,
Yes,
I
yes,
don't want
yes,
anyone to come
yes.
after us. So allegedly he was
Yeah,
spiking balls in the
I
gym.
allegedly smoke weed too.
Allegedly, yeah. See, allegedly,
Allegedly.
allegedly.
All right. Well, there you go. Some news notes around the wonderful world of MLB. Again, we've got all this content over at Fantasy Alarm. James does the waiver wire article. We've got the team puts together the full injury report. John and Pemba's been doing a bunch of buy low, sell high articles. I started doing a stock watch for everybody as we start, building more towards uh, the way you should be trading, the
Yep.
way you should be looking at players. It's always tough to do that stuff 2 weeks into the season, right?
Yes.
Like that's we talk sample size all the time here, and and I get it. You sit there and you have to like panic in fantasy football because there's a limited number of games. Too much in baseball going on, so now it's time to really benefit you and look at the stock watch. So go and check all of that stuff out. Now, James put together a nice little fun game for us here. A little fact or fiction. James, why don't you take it away, man? What inspired this?
Um, I just was looking at some breakout candidates or some players that are struggling, and I was looking at where they ranked in terms of fantasy scoring this year, and I just felt like I wanted. I think some of these names are highly talked about names in the fantasy space right now. We've had a closer change in Toronto. That's a big deal because we saw how much Jeff Hoffman was used last year. We've had a former really highly coveted prospect as of like last year look unbelievable. And I don't know if you've seen some of the pitching ninja clips with him next to Jacob DeGrom, but Chase Dollander looking looks a lot like a prime Jacob DeGrom, and obviously he's pitching well.
To
There's
grime, I think you just
DeGrom.
said that
Yeah,
was like a Freudian slip right
it
there.
was it was a tough one. There's obviously some struggling first basemen that aren't even outside of or that are outside the top 20 right now that people drafted as top 10 first basemen, and I want to know from your opinion or what your opinion is if they're going to possibly surge or if they're gonna keep stinking. And then no, you brought up Andy Pages, and is this real? So I think a lot of questions. I just looked at what's popular right now, what the topic of conversations are, and how things were. So let me ask Howard. Right now, Louis Varland amongst all relief pitchers. Okay, this is all relief pitchers, so this is not just closers. Has scored the fourth most fantasy points. He only has 4 saves, but he has a win. He has a boatload of strikeouts. I want to know, is fact or fiction, is Louis Varland a top 5? Louis Varland is a top 5 closer this year.
I, I can't. Yeah, no, I won't say that Louis Varland's going to be a top 5 closer.
Okay.
That part is fiction. Because I can't tell you who's going to finish the season as a top 5 closer. Maybe I can tell you
Yeah.
Mason Miller will be in there, right? He'll be in the conversation. Although, foul ball, no foul ball, like ruined his scoreless inning streak.
Yeah.
That we saw the other day. But listen, what I like about Varland, obviously, there are 2 things that we love about him that we always just kind of attribute to when we talk about Jose Soriano. It's a high strikeout rate, and it's a huge high ground ball rate.
Yep.
56.7% ground ball rate. The swing, the whiffs that he's getting right now, I think are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
This is a guy who, I think he was an average starter, average at best.
Yes.
Right. Now you're throwing him into the 9th inning and you're just being like, all right, give him everything that you got for these pitches. So, it's definitely something that you ride right now, but I think we'll probably see that strikeout rate come down a little bit and just have him pitch to more contact, which is just something that, we saw the trend from him last year also when that ground ball rate really started to tick up. I think it's a matter of contact. So I think that he's a great option for right now. That's a fact.
Yep.
Whether or not he stays like this, I mean, it's just too volatile a position for me.
Okay. Do you believe that Chase Dollander finishes as a top 25 pitcher this season? Just starting pitcher this season.
No, just because it's Colorado, is that allowed? Like, here's the thing.
Is that allowed? Are you allowed to be good? Are you allowed to be good in Colorado? Or
I mean, listen.
He's 13th for context right now. He is 13th. He's ahead of Shota Imanaga, Bryce Elder, Dylan Cease, Will Warren, George Kirby, Paul Skeens, Michael King. Those are the 7 names he's ahead of right now.
If they're going to continue to just use an opener.
He started last game. It was his first. They had done the opener.
Did he go 6?
He dominated. He absolutely dominated. And he started, which you and I actually had a discussion about this the last episode, because we were talking about it's impossible to use him in a quality starts league. Yes. And then he immediately starts the next. Thanks, Colorado. Thanks for watching the show. Immediately starts and just shoves again, because that's kind of what he's done every time out this year. He's just shoved.
Yeah. I just have the issue with, Colorado. And that's what it is. When you're pitching half your games in Colorado, the breaking stuff just doesn't break as much in that thin air than as it would, any other place around. So I like the talent. I really, really do. I think that, Dollander is the exact type of archetype that you're looking for in Colorado for pitching, right? High strikeout rate, high ground ball rate. Right? That's what you need, a guy who misses bats, and you need a guy who induces a lot of ground balls. Is he going to have some off games? Yes, he is. How he responds to some of those off games, especially when you're finding success right now like he is, all the underlying metrics say that this is sustainable for him. I like it. Is he going to finish it? You know what? F it, man. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna go on the limb here, and I'm gonna say yes. Chase Dollander finishes this season as a top 25 pitcher. He might be number 25, but I think he'll skate right inside there. I like the kid.
I mean, that's a border. That's an SP2 on SP2 and top line SP3 in all fantasy. That's a must add in fantasy if he's gonna.
Do you think he finishes the season as a top 25?
I do not, but I think it's close. I think everything suggests that he's everything. The breakout is here. I worry about the ballpark. We've never really seen anybody navigate it other than Ubaldo Jimenez that 1 year.
I think Mike Hampton did back in the day a little bit, maybe.
But we liked Mike Hampton more because he hit.
Because he also hit. Absolutely. All right, wait a sec. I'm going to go to our preseason starting pitcher rankings here.
Okay.
And see where Dollander. I'm scrolling down to 25.
Okay.
Is he going to be better than Spencer Strider? Maybe.
I mean, he has a big leg up on Spencer Strider. So I'll go yes. More fantasy points than Spencer Strider this year.
Is he better than Nolan McLean?
I'm
going to say
Nolan McLean's better than I think anybody thought he would be, honestly.
Yeah. Nick Pivetta.
Yes.
I could go with Dollander there. Here's a better one. Kyle Bradish.
Yes. Bradish looks lost a little bit.
Okay.
The control.
Blake Snell. When he comes back.
Rest of season, I guess, is the question for like Strider, Snell. Oh man, Snell is going to get so many wins. So many wins in that. I would lean Dollander in if they're going to start him in quality start leagues. In like points leagues, I probably lean Snell.
Okay. All right, but I mean, in the conversation, that's really all we're looking
in the
at.
conversation, honestly, at this point in the conversation.
Yuri Perez.
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I go Dollander there.
Okay. Lizardo, Jesus Lizardo.
Oh, he's been bad too. But we know what the talent is.
He's been getting unlucky. You look at some of
He
his
has been
metrics.
super unlucky.
He's
Super
been getting
unlucky.
crazy unlucky here.
I'll stay. I think Lizardo ahead of Dollander, but another close one.
Okay. Then we're looking at names like Dylan Cease, Otani, Joe Ryan, George Kirby. I'm not going to put Dollander over any of those
No,
guys.
every single one of them are ahead of
Okay.
Dollander.
So what we're looking at here is Dollander at the back end of the top 25. Pavetta, Bradish, Perez, Lizardo, Strider. Like those are the names that he's got to outproduce if he's going to stay in the top 25. And that's just from preseason rankings.
Right.
I haven't even tapped into some of the other names that are going in there. I did not rank Cam Schlittler in my top 25 to open the season.
He is number 3 in fantasy points accumulated amongst all pitchers. So
yeah. Brandon Woodruff looks good right now. Kevin Gossman has been stable. Chase Burns is looking pretty good right now. So I mean, there's a handful of names that I think could. Jacob Mizorowski,
yeah.
Schlittler, Alcantara. So there are definitely a handful of names. This one here, I think, as far as fact or fiction goes, I think this one here is probably going to be the closest race that we see. Among whether or not it's fact or fiction. Like Louis Varland, no, as a top 5 closer. I'm so much more confident on that than saying that Dollander will or will not be. Like that's the like I don't either way for Dollander. I'm still less confident in that over Varland.
Agreed. All right, let's go to the next one. We have Michael Busch, Josh Naylor, Vinnie Pasquantino. All 3 of them are currently outside of the top 20 in fantasy points scored at first base. Pasquantino's 21st, Naylor's 22nd, Michael Busch is 24th. So, Howard, one of those 3 will finish outside of the top 15 in scoring in just points leagues in fantasy. Fact or fiction?
That one of them will finish outside. The top 15?
So we'll say at least one. So we could. How many do you think? I'm saying at least one. So okay. Fact or fiction of at least one of those 3 outside the top 15. If you want to hear the guys around 15 right now, Freeman's 12, Burleson's 13, Torkelson is 14th. Thank you to the 5-game home run streak that he's on. Bowers is 15th. Berger 16th, Shonowell 17th, Alonso 18, Rumfield 19, and Pasquantino. They're all behind that crop of first baseman.
I'm gonna say no then. If those are once you hit me with the Nolan Shanwell at like 16,
is ahead of all 3 of these guys in points leagues.
Once you hit me with that aspect there, I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna say no because I still believe. I mean, once the summer months heat up in Chicago and the wind starts blowing out in Wrigley, we're going to see more from Michael Busch. I think as far as these 3 names go, I think maybe Busch could be the lowest one.
Yeah.
Out of the crew. But I think Naylor rights the ship. I think Pasquatch rights the ship as well. Kansas City, horrendous start to the season, right? Bobby Witt just hit his first home run. Finally the other day. So I think that once they start kind of heating up a little bit more in Kansas City, I think Pasquatch will be fine. So I'm going to say no to this one here. But if I had to pick who could disappoint me the most, it could be Michael Busch. Simply because he's just home run power and that's it. There's no added bonuses there.
He was my pick as well. Because they've also, I don't know if it's as much this year, but they've also shown, like last year, even during his breakout, they showed that they'd platoon him. And they've given Matt Shaw some at-bats at first as well. The Pasquantino and Naylor don't platoon. They just play every day. So I agree. And then you asked, do you want to take the Andy Pages one? Do you want to take the
I'll
Andy
ask
Pages
you.
one?
Will Andy Pages currently right now is batting 327 with a 374 OBP, 396 weighted on base average. I mean, everything about his game right now looks fantastic. Isolated power is there. Everything's lining up. Plate discipline. Could he draw a couple extra walks? Yeah, sure. Couldn't anybody? But there's no pressure on him whatsoever amongst that group of superstars. James Grande, will Andy Pages finish this season with a 300 or better batting average?
This is a tricky one because I'm not necessarily an Andy Pages believer. I do think that his StatCast page and a lot of the metrics that suggest if a player has been lucky or unlucky or are much better than they were last year. And last year he hit 270 with 27 bombs, and it looks like he just was very lucky for an entire year. And this year it looks real. I'm going to go fiction, not because I don't think he's going to have a good year, but 300 is just so hard to maintain. I mean, even Aaron Judge in a season that he hit 330, his expected batting average was below 300 last year. And so you really have to have like a lot of good luck on your side to hit 300. And, it was 400 for most of the year, and we're closing in now. We're closer to 300 than 400. I'm going to go fiction. I think he's probably settles back into like the 270, 280 range, but still obviously has a very good fantasy year because, as you mentioned, there could be, I don't know if there's a player with less pressure on him in all across Major League Baseball. Like, it has to be like the bottom portion of the Dodgers lineup just collectively has no pressure whatsoever. You play with Ohtani. Kyle Tucker's the highest AAV player in baseball. Freeman's a multi-time champion. Like, you have no pressure, any of them. Like, 6 down, right? Like, anyone hitting 6th or lower in that lineup, there's nothing. So I'll say fiction, despite the fact I think Andy Pages still has a good year.
I agree with you. I think, again, fueled by a 382 batting average on balls in play, that'll come down.
Yes.
For sure. And I like it. I hope that he stays in that 270 to 280 range like he did last year. I would definitely be psyched about that. I want to see him keep that OBP up. I do like the fact that he is like his walk rate is sitting at 7% right now. He had like a below 5% last year. And I think that if he can do that, because I've got Pages is the Dodger who I have the most exposure to, and in all of my leagues, and in 2 of those leagues are OBP leagues. So I want to see that maintained there for sure. But all right, well, there you go. Little fact or fiction. We'll be bringing you guys this feature on Tuesdays. We'll mix it in with a little buy low, sell high, and kind of work that magic for everybody as the season goes on. But let's wrap up today's show, answering a few questions out of the mailbag. And here we go, James. I'll start with from PSU Dad over in the Fantasy Alarm Discord. He's in a 14-team 4x4 Roto League, currently 13th in saves. Should I punt or trade for a closer? Now, there are some caveats to this for him. He does have a strong rotation. He has said that he's got some good depth that, maybe a pitcher could be expendable if he trades somebody off. In a 4x4 14-teamer, are you punting saves?
You're not punting. You can't punt anything in a 4x4. I am gonna take a stab at some saves. Whether it's a Louis Varland that we just talked about, whether it's a insert whatever team has the most saves in a league, like in FSGA, I'm in this similar boat. I just traded for Kenley Jansen because I just need saves. Like, if you're looking for stable 9th inning guys in a 4x4, like, I would just, if you have a security blanket of starters, then I would move one to get
Yeah.
closer.
I mean, there are a ton of. I mean, you don't have to trade for a Mason Miller or an
Right.
Aroldis Chapman. You don't have to trade for Bednar or Munoz. You know, you can
Yeah.
definitely. I like the Kenley Jansen call there. I think that's a good one. I think you could go even cheaper here with a guy like what you call it with a guy like Sir Anthony Dominguez,
Yeah.
like and maybe even get something else back if you trade a decent starter, get Dominguez, and then maybe just another starter there. You know, it's not a great situation, and maybe he becomes a trade candidate for the White Sox further down into the season. But right now, this dude is just he has no pressure on him. There's no competition for saves. The leash is incredibly long. Not the guy I want, but I mean that's the guy who I would probably settle for.
Yeah, I think Dominguez, Riley O'Brien, Brian Baker,
Yep.
the aforementioned Louis Varland are all guys that are probably going to be available to you in trade because, like you said, it's going to cost too much to go get a Mason Miller or David Bednar. Like you don't need to trade for those people. But I think like you look at a situation like Detroit has with Kenley Jansen, or a White Sox with Sir Anthony Dominguez, or a Rays with Brian Baker. And these are guys that miss bats and guys that are getting save ops. So I think if you have a crop of pitchers that you're willing to part with, don't shoot for the moon and settle into. I mean, Dominguez is tied for sixth in saves with Kenley Jansen, right? They're both have 6 saves this year. Riley O'Brien and Brian Baker have 7. Like those are very serviceable arms that are getting opportunities and converting. So, yeah, I think
I even look at like Lucas Urseg from
yes,
Kansas City because who knows what the velocity is going to look like for Carlos Estevez
yeah,
whenever he does come back. So I think that Urseg is another guy, and again, won't cost you a whole lot of either.
no, agreed, totally. Don't punt saves in a 4x4.
All right. At Claus over at the Fantasy Alarm Discord, James,
Oh boy.
he was offered Paul Skeens and Colson Montgomery for Christopher Sanchez and Brian Wu. So a definite sell high opportunity for his opponent with Montgomery. Getting Skeens is pretty damn sexy. Is it enough, though, to part ways with 2 high-end starters in Sanchez and Wu?
Oh, this is a tough one. I mean, someone like Montgomery is like I think is always viable in fantasy as like an ad if you're in need of power. Like I have Montgomery in places where I was like putting in a middle infield spot, right? Not like as a primary third baseman or a primary shortstop. He was my second option there because I knew like this is a 30 home run guy. Um I'm probably staying on the Sanchez and Wu side, truthfully. I like Colson Montgomery, but I think there are waiver wire ads that also have 30 home run upside.
Yeah, without the batting average drain of a 224 mark.
Yeah, and in even like even if there is like Howard, like I can find that guy, and in most formats, like
Yeah.
I can find a Colson Montgomery if you're really looking for him instead of trading Christopher Sanchez and Brian Wu, who let's not forget Christopher Sanchez a year ago was the Cy Young runner-up, and Brian Wu started his season with 24 consecutive quality starts. I know we're you know, coming off, talk about buy low, he's coming off, Sanchez and Wu coming off awful starts. That's when that owner is looking at it like, I can capitalize on this now. I'd stay put on with Sanchez and Wu.
I agree, and that's what I mentioned in the Discord. Last question here, Scuba Sam's son, Scuba Steve, in the room here. Tatsuya Imai, do I drop him for Kyle Harrison? Now Harrison's coming off of that big strikeout performance there. What do you have? 12 Ks the other day.
Yes, he did. He did.
I already answered this to Scuba Steve in the Discord. I said that I would definitely make the move if you need the help right now. I'm not a huge Kyle Harrison fan overall, but what's Imai doing for you right now?
It's Tatsuya goodbye. That's what I'm calling. It's goodbye. I mean, this is cut and dry for me. One guy decided to go to a market that he's not comfortable in, let alone he has a dead arm, right? And he's gonna regret that every day of his life until maybe he, hopefully receives mental help. Not like that he's crazy, but he clearly needs help. Like it's a situation that he is uncomfortable in, and he can't pitch well. I mean, those two things clashing are probably, it's a constant thing in his head. I don't know if I hope he can recover from that and pitch well. But like Kyle Harrison is coming off the best start of his career. And we have talked about it since day one. He went to the best possible scenario. He went to Milwaukee. They just churn out good, everything turns to gold in Milwaukee. And then a 90-win team is spit out at the end of the year. All of the stats, all of the peripherals look real. Maybe he's walking a few too many guys for some people's liking. But yeah, I'll go with the guy with a 31% K rate pretty much every time of the week.
Well, there you have it there. Scuba Steve, make that move. I hope you already did. So we appreciate you guys staying tuned in here to the Caught Stealing Fantasy Baseball podcast. As always, James and I, we record this one twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. The Thursday show, which you'll catch up later on this week, that's where we dive into the waiver wire work. Now, as always, if you have any kind of a question for us that you want answered here on the show, you can put it into our Discord over at fantasyalarm.com, especially if you subscribe, right? fantasyalarm.com/YouTube, promo code YT50, 50% off. Hang out with me and James in the baseball Discord channel. We're in there all the time, answering questions and chatting you guys up. Or you can email me, rotobuzzguy@gmail.com. You can send me a tweet. I'm at rotobuzzguy. James is at _real_grande. But that's going to do it for us here on Caught Stealing. As always, we thank you guys for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. You never want to miss a show from Fantasy Alarm. Appreciate you guys very much. For James Grande, I'm Howard Bender. We'll catch you next time.